All right, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight, or for those of you listening to the recording. I hope you can see okay. I'll write bigger than the tiny print. But this past weekend, some of you guys were here. We had a retreat for our team at my house, and one of my good friends came, and she taught us a lot about the power of, like, we hear a lot of times, and even in our journey, we feel like we're doing all the things, but we're not seeing the results we want. And so she taught us 3 parts of the success equation, which I've been taught before, but realized we've never taught it in our challenge group like this. So tonight, what I'm going to do is kind of walk you through this. And the reason I have the board is because I still have it. I borrowed it from her, and I thought it would be helpful to some in my den. But I thought it would be helpful to write some of these things down. So 2 of the biggest things that a lot of us will hear or say is that we don't feel motivated, or we get stuck with our motivation. And so the first thing that I want to talk to you about tonight is what she talks about. There's a book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And there's one thing that we need to understand, and that is every decision. So like, this is you. Every decision that you decide either moves you towards what you want or away from it. We're never stagnant. Like, we're never stagnant. Like, even when you're being completely still, you're actually just doing this. And so in our journey, whether you're doing TV Mindset or the Portion Fix or workouts or whatever, when you decided to join this challenge group, if y'all are here doing Clean Week, you have something that you want. You have something you want to change. It could be, I want to lose weight. I want to feel comfortable in my skin. I want to eat more vegetables. I want to stop craving sugar all the time. I want to exercise. I want to be able to do a push-up on my toes. Like, you get to decide what you want and why it's important to you. But you also need to decide what you don't want. I think so many times in this journey, we spend a lot of time thinking about what we do want, but we forget to focus on, if our decisions, like, what we don't want. We want to make sure that we're taking the time when we make a decision to ask ourselves. I'm at school. I used to be a teacher, and it would be like Mardi Gras time, and there was always a king cake in the break room, the teacher's lounge. And if I were getting ready to get married, would eating that king cake move me closer to my goal of feeling good on my wedding day if I was trying to, lose weight at that season? No. Or would it be, if I'll eat one small piece, but I'm not going to go back for seconds? You decide what you want, but you have to decide, is it going to move you towards your goal or away? When you grocery shop and you're choosing what you put in your cart, there are seasons like this weekend at the retreat we talked about. There are seasons I can have cookies in my house and it's not a big deal. And there's seasons I can't, based on what I want and my circumstances. So I have I am in control of this. And so a lot of times I think what happens is we kind of want our life to be on autopilot. Like, we want to buy the program and it just direct us. It's a tool. Your Beachbody On Demand is a tool. Shakeology is a tool. Our meal planning guides are a tool. Like, we have to actually physically do the work of writing down what we want to have for dinner every night. You don't have to do it all at once. Like, there was a great call. Was it last week, Megan, that we did that? You did the call on, like, baby a few weeks back. Can't remember when it was. we had a call where she talks about, like, you don't have to do it all at once. Like, you don't have to change everything at once, but you want to start making small changes that are moving you in the direction that you want. Because what you have control in this whole equation is how consistent you are and the amount of time you're willing to walk in that direction, and the intensity with which you want to move towards your goal. Some people sign up, and in their season, they just had a baby, and their consistency is they get up every day, they're following TV Mindset, they're drinking their water, they're drinking their Shakeology. Their time is they're going to do it every day for the 30-day challenge group and continue on. Their intensity is in a line that they're not working out in that season because they're recovering from having a baby, but because of consistency and time and the focus of following just the TV Mindset, we've had challengers lose 17 to 30 pounds without exercise. And it wasn't because it happened in the first day or the first week or the second week. It was time. Because there were days, I'm sure these coaches and challengers who made these decisions had the donut or the king cake or the ice cream. Like, I love that Alana teaches that. It's okay to have a treat. Maybe they had it a little too often, and then they learned that wouldn't align with their goals. So then they went back and thought, what do I really want? If I really want to feel good, if I really want to make sure that I'm not self-sabotaging, I got to make a decision. So if you have not taken time in a while to really assess your goals of what you want, like, what you want is what you want to feel like, what you want to see, what you want to experience. It takes time. It changes. I think that in a sense that we become clearer and clearer. It's not like we first start out and we have where we want to be a year from now in our fitness completely figured out. But we kind of have a general idea and start walking towards it. And so this was a great, like, the consistency part, your decisions, it was a great piece of the equation that you have control of. But the thing that trips us up a lot, I'm so fancy, I'm gonna wipe my board off with toilet paper, is the second part of this equation. And that is your belief. So we have a thing that we say in the team, and it's actually kind of scripture based, but what you focus on grows. What you focus on, you get more of. So the analogy was like, if you went and bought a car and no one had that car, but after you buy the car and you're driving it, you're going to notice a million people have that car, because all of a sudden you're focused on the car you're driving. If you made the decision to drink Shakeology, all of a sudden you're going to notice everyone else who has a shaker cup when you're out or on social media. I never noticed or knew what a shaker cup was until I started drinking Shakeology, because I didn't drink a shake. But now I like laugh at blender bottle. I notice them because I drink Shakeology every day. When you're a coach like us, like some of us that are on here, like, and you work out, what like catchphrases are that trainers say. So you see them on like t-shirts and you notice them because you're focusing on that. So what we put in front of us matters. What we tell ourselves matters, and how we talk to ourselves matter. And the biggest hurdle a lot of us talk about is like, I just don't feel motivated. You're not going to always feel motivated. I wish you could. I wish Shakeology was a motivational shake, but it's not. I wish it was. But you are in control of being able to remind yourself where you've been and change what you focus on right now. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with Stephen Furtick, but he's a pastor for Elevation Church, and he did a sermon a few years ago. It's on their app, and he actually came here and they did like a tour with like Lauren Daigle and Elevation Worship and Jesus Culture. And Courtney and I went with my friend Summer and her husband, and Stephen Furtick was a pastor. He talks about gaps, and Courtney always laughs. He's like, he's got gaps, like, haha. So anyway, so last night, something we were talking about was we all, whether you're on day one, week 1, week 2, year 1, year 2, whatever you are, we have a before, we have a now, and we have a going. The going is the part on that first graph where you want to go. This is what you want. We focus so much on this sometimes, though, that we get discouraged, right? Maybe you hit a plateau, because it happens, and you're making decisions, and you're saying, but this is what I want, and I'm making these decisions. And what Summer talked about last night, which has been so powerful in my life, and I was very thankful she said it, because I've heard this several times, but sometimes we got to hear something like over and over again for it to stick, is that sometimes if you're feeling stuck, what you need to do is go back to remember what you felt like before you said yes to your first challenge. If you're a clean weeker, before you said yes to the clean week group. If you are doing 2B mindset, before you said yes to 2B mindset. What did you feel like that inspired you to take your coach's hand and try something different? For me, when I first started, I was sharing this weekend, and I've shared before in our group, like, I was a mom, I had 5 kids, I was numb. I felt lonely. I ran to try to kind of like outrun my eating habits. I try to out-exercise my bad diet. I was an emotional eater. I didn't know how to say no to food, and I was afraid of it. Like if my husband brought donuts in my house, I would be afraid. I'd either eat them all so they'd be gone, or I'd get really mad at him for bringing them in the house. Like it was like a really sad stress that I would have. I did not like my body. I had 5 children, and I noticed all the things about it I didn't like. And there I was running, I was training for a 5K and then a 10K and a half marathon, and I was always seeing the flaws. That's when I decided I needed something different. And I reached out to my coach and asked if I could be a part of a 10-day group, like the Clean Week people who are here for Clean Week. And I tried Shakeology for 10 days, and I just walked. I didn't even run that week. And I found something different because I got surrounded. I wasn't being judged for my weakness. I loved Shakeology because it helped me not crave the junk that I would crave at night. And I didn't feel alone. I have to remember that sometimes. It's been 6 years. And sometimes I can get so stuck on areas now. If I'm plateauing, I could say I'm in a plateau and forget maybe I'm in a plateau, but I don't hate my body anymore. Like my story now, I'm a mom with 7 kids, y'all, and I don't hate my body. It confuses me sometimes. I'm doing healing right now with my gut health. I don't understand why food does so. I get frustrated with the weakness I'm experiencing right now, but I still don't hate my body. I never thought that was possible. And so if we take some time to go back and think of where we were and where we are now, it could be small. This has been 6 years for me. At the first, I was just feeling better that I wasn't alone anymore. And I was feeling better that I wasn't, after my first challenge group was 90 days, I wasn't eating a whole bag of dark chocolate chips out of the freezer a week. Because that's what I used to do. My kids would go to bed and I'd like shovel in my mouth. And I even talk about it in the challenge group, and by the end I wasn't doing it anymore. That was huge for me. I could get my pre-pregnancy pants, and if you can go back, there's this gap between where you were and where you are now. You can look at that and have gratitude. Gratitude gives you motivation. When you're thankful that you're not there and you see you're moving forward, it motivates you to focus on the good. That's why gratitude journals are good. It's why we count our wins every night in our group and say, name your wins. It's why when we self-evaluate, we ask your biggest 3 wins. If you're not doing that, I want to encourage you to make that be the number one thing you start to worry about, work on. Because this gap of where we are now and where we're going is faith. It's trusting because we came from here to here that we'll be able to go from here to here. It's trusting that by consistency and time and intensity we'll get our results. But if we don't have gratitude, we'll be walking forward frustrated, noticing the one day we didn't eat really well, noticing the one day that we didn't have enough vegetables, or the 3 days, or the 2 days we missed our workout instead of the 3 days we did it. It really makes a difference because we are in control of that. It's happened. We can find something to be thankful for. Even if it's your day 1, I'm thankful that I had the courage to say to my coach, can I be in this group? It takes a lot of courage to step out of your comfort zone and be in a challenge group. That's why it takes people a while. That's why I don't rush people ever, because it took me, I watched my coach for a year on social media before I was willing to be in her challenge group, because my mess inside, I didn't want anyone to know about. So the first gap is before and now, and that's gratitude. Is that what you're asking me? And the second gap is where I'm going, and it's faith. You want to unmute, Megan? You can just ask me.
It's not a question. I was just saying,
you're saying, yes, I can. Yes, thank you. Oh, that's so good. 3 hours.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off.
No, that was perfect. So yes, the first gap is I can, because you did it. And the second gap is can I? And the evidence is here. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't run in a really long time, y'all. If I went out, I actually about, what was it, last fall or summer, my daughter was like, I'm thinking I might want to do soccer. We should run. I'm like, sure. I hadn't run in like 2 years maybe. Xavier's 4. Gosh, like 3 years. And I'm like, oh, it can't be that hard. It's like riding a bike. I work out. So I put on running shoes and we ran. And after like 2 minutes, we were both like dying. And then we had to walk. And then we'd run. And then I like peed my pants because I've had 7 kids. And that's what happens when you run and you forget. And then I was so frustrated when I got home. I told Courtney, like, what is wrong with me? I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, Kelly, you haven't run in 3 years. Like, remember when you couldn't even run a minute because you were too afraid to try? So I had to remind myself, like, what I had done. I've run half marathons. I can do it, but it means I have to be consistent with my efforts. Can't do it in a day. I can't go out and be like, some people can, and I love those people, but I am not one of them. I can't be like, I think I'm going to go run. Angie was here, one of our coaches, and she's like, I'm going to go run 5 miles. I'm going to go run 4 miles in the morning. And then she'd come home and do like 21-day fix with everybody in my den at retreat. And I was like, you guys are like amazing. You know, that's you. You do you, you know. But we get to choose our intensity. And in our group, in the community, if we share, we get to inspire each other. The power of this weekend for my team, so if you guys have watched on social media, our team had a retreat. And it was some business training on how to serve you guys better and grow in our business mission. But it was also to support one another as women in our journey, because we're still growing. And that was something that I want to build in our group together, in our challenge group. And I think we're afraid of this part because we're always focusing on the I can't, what I can't do, what I didn't do. So I want you to pay attention to your gap. Do this activity? Do you have that gratitude? You know, and I'd like you to post it this week. Like, this is your homework for the week. Where were you before? Where are you now? Where do you want to go? Just take some time. You don't have to have all the details. I do this activity at least once a year, if not twice a year, because where I want to go changes as it becomes more clear to me, as it gets more defined. My season changes. Like right now, I'm not allowed to work out to anything that's not stretching. So at the beginning of the year, my goal was to do 2 rounds of Transform 20, the new 21-day fix workouts, and they're releasing something coming around at Summit that I'm very excited about. Well, now I can't do any of that. So, but I know what I want. I want to feel good, not be exhausted, feel comfortable, and not be inflamed. So I just had to change my choices and redefine where I'm going. And I got frustrated when I first found out because I didn't mind my gap. So the last thing I was going to tell y'all that she shared is this. And then if y'all have any questions, you're welcome to. I'm going on like Angie speed, super fast. She's so good. She's concise. Okay. So the success of, can y'all see this? Okay. The success equation is consistency plus time plus intensity multiplied by your belief equals your results. This is the compound effect. Compound effect, if you do it long enough and you give it enough time and you keep your intensity where it honors your season, and you can change the intensity part as long as you keep going and you give it time. This can be modified. You will get there. But if you don't have this, you'll miss it. If you don't have belief, if you don't have that gratitude, you'll miss it. You'll reach your goal weight and then just think so much about the next goal that you completely miss celebrating that you lost 2 pounds or 4 pounds because you're working towards maybe 30 and you've only lost 2. So the words that can kill your belief are saying things like only, should, those kind of limiting words that they pretty much strip what we've done, like it's not enough. Try to catch yourself saying them and change them. I only lost 2 pounds. No, you lost 2 pounds. That's why I love in 2B Mindset how Alana teaches that, like 2 pounds at a time. And over time, when you add it up, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, it adds up. And you're moving in that direction. But your belief your belief grows when you feed it. You feed it by being grateful. You feed it by being surrounded in the challenge group. You feed it by pouring into others. So even this weekend, there would be times that we were here saying stuff and someone would correct someone in a loving way because they were saying something that was limiting. And they would say, don't say that. That's not true. I love you. This is what's true. And we can do that in this challenge group. Your belief is going to, when you print off a program and you finish it from start to finish, some days you're not going to be motivated, but you keep making that decision because it's what you want to do and you don't want to feel like you quit one more time. Like that was my thing. So I talked at the beginning about what you want and what you don't want. What I don't want ever to be again is a quitter. I was a quitter my whole life. These challenge groups, this opportunity is the first thing in my life I didn't quit. And so when I remember what it feels like to quit and be so disappointed in myself because I'll never know if I could have done it, I don't want to do that anymore. So when I get discouraged, I just remember that. And it helps me to be thankful that I'm continuing on. But if you work through these things, you will get to the result. I think a lot of times we focus so much on this, though, we miss the results we've already had. You know, we don't give it enough time. We stop and start too much. You know, so we're like, I'll do a week of 21-day fix. No, I don't love it. I'm going to do a week of PIO. I don't love it. I'm going to do a week. You know, there are seasons that people put programs together, like a hybrid, and they have a calendar and they follow the calendar. I'm not shooting that down. But then there's some of us that just can't make a decision. I've done this and I get lost and I just do this for a few days and this for a few days and this. The programs are designed in a way that they line up to get results. They have rest days when they need them and stretch days when they need them and upper and lower workouts. You know what I mean? I'm not a personal trainer. I don't want to be and I don't need to be because I have a whole bunch of them on BOD, you know? And so if I'm not following that part of the recipe or with 2B Mindset, if I decide I'm going to plate my food for 3 days and I'm not going to worry about it, I'm not being consistent. But I'll also tell you, be consistent in small things first. You don't have to master the portion fix in the first week. I'm not doing the portion fix, but I know coaches that are. And I love that Autumn in the videos told them like not to worry about everything at once. Like watch the videos and then don't even get the containers out at first. Just watch the information and try to understand it. And with Alana and the 2B Mindset, I've been doing it since it released and I still am learning things, you know, it's not perfect, but the times I haven't been consistent watching videos and tracking, it's not going to work. Not because it doesn't work, because I'm not being consistent. And I had to ask myself, like, what do I want? Do I want to stay stuck? And then if I start saying, you know, oh, it just doesn't work for me, that's not true. I've done several programs that worked great because I was consistent. I've finished many programs on the library, you know, because I've been around a long time. And when I did them, they worked. Not always maybe the way I wanted them to. Like I remember I did P90X3 and I lost 1 pound and I was trying to lose, well, I thought at the time, I've learned now that goal weights are kind of different when you're gaining muscle and trying to get in a different type of shape. But when I looked at my before and after, that's how we tell you how to take photos and measurements. I had lost so many inches. It was crazy. But I wasn't seeing it because I was focused on just the number. And so I had to learn to be grateful that I could do push-ups. I could actually do 2 pull-ups. Like I was able to do things I could never do in my life. So I wanted to talk to y'all, you know, this is our last week in this boot camp. And then we're going to kick off a fresh start with a new week that we're calling Game Plan Week next week. Not this week, but next week. And I want you to be thinking about this. Are you moving towards what you want? Or are your decisions moving you towards what you don't want? What part of the success equation do you need to work on? You know, think about that. And I really want to encourage you to do and post this week where you were before and where you are now. Just draw a line in the middle of a page and then where you want to go. You know, and the beauty of where you want to go, I remember when I told my coach in my first challenge group, I just want to be comfortable in my skin. The reason that was really scary to say out loud is I had no idea if that was possible because I'd never had it, but I knew it's what I wanted. And so I just kept walking and I did find it. It took a lot of personal development and gratefulness. And it wasn't comfort in the skin, didn't come from a pant size for me. I thought it did. So it took time for that healing to happen. But if I'd never said that's what I wanted, I would have kind of stayed lost in the gap of where I am to where I want to go. So do you guys have any questions that I can help with? Or any feedback? Awesome. Well, I'm going to pray for us and then let y'all go. And I'm going to bed. It was a great weekend, but I got like maybe 5 hours of sleep all weekend, so I'm ready for bed. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the community that you are growing in the Freedom Family. I'm grateful for the members of our Clean Meat group and the virtual gym and the 2B Mindset and all the other groups that we have as part of the Freedom Family outreach and the ways that we're growing in our community. And God, I just pray tonight that you would help us to find gratitude for the gap, and that you would help us have the courage to say where we want to go, and that you would help us to fix our focus. As we finish this last week of this challenge and we go into April, help us to get one step closer to being stronger. Help us to recognize it and also to recognize it in one another. I just ask that you pour out a spirit of encouragement so that we become even more encouraging of others. And help us, Lord, as we think about where we were and where we are now, to really be able to see the difference in a place of gratitude and not perfectionism. And we pray all these things in your holy name. Amen. All right, you guys. Thanks so much. Have a good night.